Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We're here to do a presentation on some of the latest real-time sharing technology, which allows faster access and seamless data management, especially useful in emergency situations. This presentation is by NAG Inc., DLT, and Google. Again, thank you all for joining us. Everyone who's watching this presentation has a responsibility in one way or another of protecting the public, their people, public and private property, and the environment. That's why we've gathered you here today. All of you have invested in systems to increase and improve your emergency response time. What we're offering is a system that better integrates all of the different technologies you're using to maximize the effectiveness of what you're using now, or a solution that improves your overall technological situation completely. The use of the latest technology will allow you to do a better job of protecting the public, protecting your own staff, protecting property, and protecting the environment. In most cases, our technology is faster, more seamless, and offers better real-time access to data than anything that you're using now. This will help save lives. One thing this presentation is not is a presentation on technology we wish existed, or something we'd like to have happen, or something we'd like to try to make happen. NAG and its partners, like DLT and Google, are doing this critical work now with other municipal, state, and federal agencies. We'll be presenting a series of case studies on such events as shots fired in a busy city, a snowstorm that cripples whole states, managing security for a presidential inauguration, the evacuation of a power plant and surrounding areas in case of an emergency, and an examination of the Gulf oil spill and how our technology would have made emergency response time better, protecting the environment and people faster and better than ever before. Please take a moment to note that as of May 22, 2012, Google Earth Builder was officially renamed as Google Maps Engine. It is the same product, and there have been no changes in capabilities. Thank you for joining us. The presentation begins now.
Over the course of the last few years, Google Earth and Maps have forever changed the way we view and navigate our world. Google Maps is the most popular online mapping site worldwide, and to date, Google Earth has been downloaded over 700 million times for its innovative and user-oriented features. Now we're taking the same technology behind Google's Geo products and putting it directly into your hands. Introducing Google Earth Builder. With Google Earth Builder, we're bringing the usability and innovation from our consumer mapping products and adding the performance and scalability of Google's cloud to allow you to create easy-to-use maps and map layers for your business users. Many governments and other organizations use mapping data and invest in mapping software, but they don't see the full benefit from either. Google Earth Builder will help you recognize your investment in mapping data by simplifying the map making and map publishing process. First, storing spatial data is expensive, difficult, and time-consuming. Backing up your data becomes essential, but the data often resides with different work groups across disparate geographies. Google Earth Builder changes that by centralizing your data in one place in the cloud. Second, with Google Earth's cloud-based layer building and Google's common sharing infrastructure, it's up to you to decide who has access or not to your most important data. Sharing, collaboration, and crucial business decisions become instantly easier. Third, the world of spatial data is currently focused on traditional enterprise software that requires its users to be technically advanced enough to interpret and analyze the data. Google Earth Builder provides an intuitive user interface that makes it easy to manage your mapping data in the cloud. Centralized mapping data, easily accessible by you or anyone you choose, accessing it from almost any platform anywhere in the world with Google Earth or Google Maps, allows your organization to process and publish your geospatial data and give it to your users to make informed business decisions. Bring the ease and innovation of Google Earth and Google Maps into your business.
Whether they are protecting people and assets, responding to a natural disaster, heading off a terrorist threat, or dealing with another type of emergency, people in the field and at command centers working for various federal, state, and local government agencies need access to large volumes of up-to-date information to guide their actions. At the same time, sharing emergency disaster planning and homeland security information within government agencies and among departments and field teams can be challenging. With the NAG transactional service from Google partner NAG Inc. and Google's state-of-the-art geospatial solutions for visualizing and sharing information, government officials and emergency teams can respond faster and more effectively to emergency situations with a common data set and intuitive means of data visualization and communication. For the last 20 years, NAG Inc. has specialized in geospatial development for U.S. federal, state, regional, and local governments throughout the nation. We have successfully implemented projects in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, the states of New York, Louisiana, and Alabama, and for entities such as the Washington Regional Threat Analysis Center, U.S. Department of Transportation, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Joint Planning and Development Office, and the Department of Homeland Security. The following case studies are examples of some of our most notable efforts deployed on the Google platform. While the majority of these cases were deployed on in-house Google Earth Enterprise servers, our solutions are currently available on Google Maps Engine. We're fully proficient with Google technology and can tie in your existing system with Google Maps Engine or implement an entirely new system using Google Maps Engine as the foundation.
Disorderly reported at 2113 Leroy Place Northwest.
As one of the nation's most premier and important locations, many law enforcement and other agencies in Washington, D.C. have a responsibility to protect and safeguard the lives of those who live and work in the area. Among those who operate within the district are President Obama, legislators in the House of Representatives and Senate, members of the Supreme Court, and numerous branches of the military and intelligence agencies. A devastating attack or serious crime could potentially cause great damage to our nation. Based on this critical need to improve public safety as much as possible, NAG developed a system for the D.C. government that dramatically improved reaction time and response coordination and cooperation. One of the most impressive features of the system is the ability to pinpoint the location of a gunshot through use of microphones, cameras, and other sensors. When a gunshot is fired, the system triangulates its location and displays it live on a map. The map also shows responding units such as police, fire, and medical aid, promoting true and comprehensive situational intelligence. Use of the Google Earth platform has allowed for increased collaboration across municipal boundaries and departmental jurisdictions, resulting in a faster, more efficient, and effective response.
It's a weekend wallop that could be remembered as the storm of a lifetime in some parts of the mid-Atlantic.
This is a lot of snow.
Snowfall totals hovering around 2 feet in the nation's capital gave new meaning to the term White House, which almost blended in with the blizzard-like conditions. Along the National Mall, cars and tour buses were replaced with cross-country skiers looking for a whole new way to take in the city.
We definitely were not going to pass up this chance to get to ski on the mall and take pictures and see the monuments covered in snow and stuff like that.
While it was a picture-perfect moment for some, the storm has caused major problems. Flights were canceled at major airports across the region. At Virginia's Dulles Airport, the weight of the snow collapsed a hangar, damaging some private jets inside. In Washington, a church roof fell in, but no one was hurt. Plow crews like this one in Maryland struggled to keep major interstates passable. Nearly 27 inches fell in Philadelphia Saturday, marking the city's second biggest snowfall in recorded history.
In a situation like Snowmageddon or any other natural disaster, a solution such as Google Earth Builder would provide a fail-safe to aid in the recovery effort. The advantage in this approach is the ability for responding units to collaborate through an entire region and across municipal boundaries due to the geographically independent cloud. The assets, resources, and necessities required to alleviate the situation can now be distributed, accessed, and modified in real time across municipal and departmental boundaries. Static resources would be visible in broader terms geographically, and emergency management agencies would have greater awareness of the current situation and the needs in the areas to be addressed. The extent of information sharing and collaboration provided by Google Earth Builder would significantly aid in any relief effort of this scale. Requirements to manage the Snowmageddon emergency situation included the need for an increased number of snowplows, greater amounts of salt, significant electrical repair and maintenance work, traffic management services, runoff control, and communications and infrastructure repairs. NAG's system of 311 call management assisted greatly in efficiently using scarce resources, but Snowmageddon still took days and weeks to mitigate. With Google Earth Builder and our solution, this natural disaster would have been handled even faster and more efficiently.
Are you prepared to take the oath, Senator?
I am.
I, Barack Hussein Obama,
I,
do solemnly swear
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
that I will execute the office of President to the United States faithfully,
that I will execute
the office of President of the United
office of President of the United States faithfully,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President. All the best wishes.
During the presidential inauguration of 2009, Washington, D.C. was on high alert for situations that could threaten the safety of the president and the public. Numerous departments, agencies, municipalities, and commercial and nonprofit organizations collaborated to preserve the safety of the ceremony and those in attendance. Using NAG's solution, they shared the necessary data visualization information among each other using a secure FTP site. This collaborative effort aided in the safe and successful inauguration of President Obama. For future presidential inaugurations, instead of static FTP server locations to house critical information, sharing data among participants through use of the Google Cloud would allow for effortless collaboration without the hassle of FTP servers or the purchasing of expensive hardware when scalability is a factor. Also, in the event of an FTP server complication or failure, the use of Google Cloud would prevent lack of access of important information and allow the event to continue safely without interruption.
As the nuclear power plant closest to the most densely populated area in the country, Indian Point poses a major potential threat to the safety, security, and economy of the United States.
Given Indian Point's abysmal track record of radioactive leaks, transformer explosions, clogged cooling water intakes, multiple siren failures, the impossibility of evacuation, we ask for the closure, the retirement, and safe decommissioning of Indian Point. Thank you.
The NRC will typically say the risk of a major meltdown is 1 in 10,000. Well, since 1957, according to Natural Resources Defense Council, there have been more than 12 cases of core reactor damage worldwide. That averages to a major accident every 4 to 5 years. Do we want Indian Point to be next? Thank you.
The NRC admits that Indian Point is not required to plan for a loss of off-site power accident caused by a seismic event, by an earthquake. Think about this for just a minute. This is exactly what happened in Japan. And the fact that they don't require this type of a series of events to be planned for, this is outrageous, and this is ridiculous, and this has to be changed.
Safety is always a primary concern for any nuclear power plant, not only for the actual facility operations, but also for the surrounding area and general public in the event of a catastrophic situation. As seen in other nuclear plant emergencies, understanding issues such as evacuation plans, road closures, traffic backups, nuclear fallout, quarantine zones, and other issues are all extremely important in the proper execution of emergency management. Currently, there are several disjointed groups ready to respond to an event of this nature, but without a comprehensive and collaborative contribution of information and live data, communication and resource access shortcomings are inevitable in any relief effort. NAG worked with the Division of Criminal Justice Services of the State of New York to develop a pilot program to help manage emergency procedures in the case of a serious accident. With the use of Google Earth Builder and NAG Solution, all participating relief organizations, emergency management agencies, hotline information, traffic management, and other data could be pooled into a global repository for viewing and improved collaboration among all necessary groups and people. In addition, in the event of a natural disaster where infrastructure is destroyed, Google Earth Builder will still function as the data resides in the cloud.
An oil spill that threatens to become the America's worst environmental disaster in decades has started washing ashore along the Gulf Coast as fishermen rush to scoop up shrimp and conservation crews spread floating barriers around marshes to try to protect them. The spill is bigger than first imagined, 5 times more than first estimated in fact, and much closer. Fingers of oily sheen were reaching the Mississippi River Delta, lapping the Louisiana shoreline in long, thin lines. The oil slick is threatening hundreds of species of fish, birds and other wildlife along the Gulf Coast, one of the world's richest seafood grounds, teeming with shrimp, oysters and other marine life. David Kennedy is from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
This is a very, very significant event, and it's of grave concern, and certainly from my own perspective, having dealt with these for a long time, I'm frightened. This is a very, very big thing, and the efforts that are going to be required to do anything about it, especially if it continues on, are just mind-boggling.
The Deepwater Horizon oil spill brought into focus the need to keep the public informed of the damage, the measures of response that the government has taken to deal with this situation, the need to involve the entire community to cope with this type of crisis, and for interdepartmental agencies to coordinate plans with active public participation. Our client application provided critical information on response and recovery efforts for the incident, providing the latest oil sightings, oyster bed and fishing closures, protective coastal booms, bird nesting areas, and demographic information on affected coastline communities for both public and private use. In the event of further oil spills and natural disasters like hurricanes, a cloud-based solution would allow for a faster, more comprehensive response by official entities. Information could be shared and distributed at a faster rate, and as severe emergencies such as hurricanes have the potential of causing electrical and other utility infrastructure failure, data and information would not be lost as they would rest on the cloud instead of physical servers. Increased sharing and data recovery capabilities would also allow greater collaboration between domestic recovery efforts and assistance from surrounding states, such as Texas and Florida, facilitating a more successful and effective recovery effort. That concludes the presentation on our case studies, and now Mr. Mo Nag, Vice President of NAG Inc., will perform a demonstration of Google Maps Engine.
Google Earth Builder provides an online data catalog, which is useful for storing and sharing geospatial data across your organization. To get started, log in using your company's Google account. In this example, we'll be using altostrat.com, our demonstration domain. It's easy to pan through my organization's data and see what has been granted to me. To begin, let's upload an imagery dataset. Just navigate to the file's location and select them. When you upload data, you can add useful metadata to make it easily searchable across your organization. Here we are entering the date of acquisition and imagery attribution. We can also add tags to make the data more searchable. Once we have specified the metadata and uploaded the dataset, it is saved to Altostrat's Google Earth Builder account and ready for use within our organization. Google Earth Builder is also a powerful tool for storing and managing vector data, such as map info tab files and Esri shape files. Let's upload a shapefile for U.S. railroads. We'll add a transportation and public domain tag for this dataset. After these files are uploaded to the AltoStrat Google Earth Builder account, they show up in the data catalog. Once uploaded, Google Earth Builder reprojects the data for use in Google Maps and Google Earth. Here you can see the image we uploaded displayed on Google Maps. Back in the data catalog, we can search the railroad data we uploaded earlier by searching on the transportation tag. Here we see the railroad dataset spans the United States. To learn about how Google Earth Builder can let you manage geospatial data, not your servers, contact our sales team.
So for our example today, we're going to begin with data. For our example, we have data from Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and information from all countries. What we actually did was auto-generate points throughout the world, points around every city, and what we're trying to do is mimic shelters throughout the US as well as throughout the world. And during an emergency, that's one of the major things that's shared across agencies and boundaries. So moving along, what we have is shapefiles. We're going to typically start with shapefiles because a lot of agencies manage their data and content using ESRI. And so I have it in a folder called Data for Demo. And what we're going to do is go into earthbuilder.google.com. I'm already logged in using my Google account, so it automatically brings me to this page. So what we have here is about 5 areas of interest. First is the dashboard. Now the dashboard is what you're looking at now, and what it contains is a list of all the different types of maps that are out there, and also the statistics and usage for each map. That's the number of hits, the number of, all of that stuff is all compressed and compiled in here. Second, you have maps. Now, individual maps that are published and processed. What you typically have is with each published map, you can republish the information. It also shows you metadata about who's created it and uploaded it, who last modified it, who it's shared by, who it's viewable by, and then most importantly, you have how published links for which you can use to actually access the information, whether through programming or through Google Earth Enterprise Client. Then you have layers. Layers, they're like custom data, so they're styled information. So what you typically do is upload your data, and then you style each data set and publish it. So to give you an example, you could have styles of multiple images. So it'll be layers of multiple images all put into one space. And what you'd be able to do with it is actually do a timeline, say for ortho. Then the other thing is you can do it with vector archives, you can do it with raster archives, all of that stuff. Then you have the data itself. Now the data is displayed in multiple ways. You can just pan through all these different things and see what it looks like, or you can actually go through this process. What I typically do is just type in what I'm looking for. Say if I did Delaware or Maryland, I would have some basic contact. So the Google search works really well here. Then you have access lists. Access lists are a list of editors and users. Now the editors are people that can modify the map and add layers, remove layers, and this is what the editor list looks like, right? Individuals that could completely modify and edit and update this information. Then you have the viewer. So you can, you typically for the, if you purchase Google Earth Builder, you could also create the public, version of the viewer list. Then you have attribution. Now the attribution is when you zoom into Google Earth, into a particular area, this is what pops up, right? So this is, you can modify this and customize this any way, which way you like. And you can also decide, hey, if there's an attribute for particular types of data, you can actually specify who gets to, who you want to share it with. Okay, now moving on, what I'm going to do is actually, so our goal is to be able to share imagine different agencies sharing this information. So Maryland, state of Maryland is sharing all their shelters during a disaster. Delaware is sharing all their shelters during a disaster, and so is Pennsylvania individually. Now, imagine this thing could actually also happen within cities, towns, and it actually breaks down as far down as possible. And the thing about Google Map Engine is that it's very simple to upload and edit and update this content. So I'm going to show you a quick way of doing it. So I have a folder here, which is data for demo once again. And I'm going to take this information and upload it. So what we have here is two ways to upload data. You can upload individual map data, so you can browse for the files, or what you can do is upload the entire folder. I always upload the entire folder. I create a folder with my project files and then just provide this process. It finds 20 files, and then so I hit next. Then it says within the 20 files I'm only picking 4 because they're the 4 primary vector files. So if you'll notice that there's only 4 files in here that are, it's 4 files which is expanded into multiple other files. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to give it a little bit more metadata about this. So uploaded by me and description fed globe demo. Okay, GME. Okay, and then I'm just going to hit the upload button. You go to the data area and you type in, and if you look at our list, it was dem slash, whatever it is, and so we just have to type in dem, and you'll see dem all countries, dem Delaware, dem Maryland, and dem Pennsylvania. Actually, let's just do Pennsylvania, right? So what you'll notice is that Pennsylvania, it shows you the region automatically, and then it says, do you want to style the vector? You can actually select style vector, and so you could say demo and continue. Now in here on our attribute table, you'll see when you click on the points, there are a few things that shows up. Click on the balloon. It's got status, it's got latitude, longitude, city ID, location, expiration date. So it's a building, so if it's a particular lease type, it'll have an expiration date. Of course, this is wrong because I auto-generated it. And then you have owner type, so it could be, am I the owner? And then what type of facility is it? Is it an office and whatnot? So I don't want to show all this stuff when it loads, so I'd go to the info window and automatically remove the stuff that I don't want. So let's just say we want this information, and I'm going to type in owner, facility, and then expiration. Apply this, and you apply it, and then automatically you'll notice the new content popping up. simple. It's that simple to upload and modify it. Now, one of the things I like to do is style it by type. So what I'm going to do is say this is my short-term leases. So imagine it's a facility that is about to expire, right? So these are all the facilities separated by short-term leases. Then we have maybe properties that I own, right? And we're going to call it, we're going to have it green, right? So add a filter, we're going to call it owner type equal to T. And then add another filter for long-term leases. These are long-term leases that these are green and this will be blue. And then this is owner type. This is fine. And long term, L for long term. Okay. And there you have it. Now you're of course looking at this information in 2D. You can also click on Google Earth in 3D and look at that information. We'll go to that at a future stage. So apply. Okay, now go back to our map. And then, so you've done with the layer. So you've created a layer, you've added data, you've created a layer and customized that layer. And then now you want to add it to a map, right? So we actually created a map before and we'll add it to that map. Now, let's do that later, but let's create a new map. Click OK. We're going to call it Fed Demo GME to create. So I created, and then so now it says, do you want to add more layers, right? So imagine Pennsylvania is one agency that shared this. But oh, by the way, when it does this, after you've created a layer, I always like to publish that layer so that even that layer of information can be accessible. So what I mean by that is that you can actually share out individual layers as well as, so you can actually just share this as a feed, as well as the map itself, which is multiple layers. So now going into maps, you'll notice there's a new Fed Demo GME, right? And since I've already added this layer, I'm going to also add another layer that I've actually created. And let's call it, it was the Delaware demo. I'm going to add that. Now, share it with, say, I want to share it with, federal EPA agency, and then process it now. Okay. So once it's processed the map, you can actually publish the map. You notice down here that there aren't any publishable, accessible links, right? Once you hit that publish button, it will publish the data and make the content accessible. You'll notice the creation date, modification date. Now here we go. This is the link for Google Earth if you want to add it into your Google Earth plugin. Here is the Google Maps one. I like to use this one as a quick example for what we've done. And bam, what you have is, I had created Delaware before, and now Pennsylvania, right? So now, since I had previously done this, I actually created GME demo, and I didn't actually add all of them, but I have the published version of this right here. So this is what the whole thing looks like. And say, hey, I want to see Delaware. Zoom in a little bit because I did that restriction. Then I said, let's see Maryland, right? And then let's see the entire U.S. Well, so I'm going to try this again, and what I'm going to do this time is actually, if you notice here, you have Delaware, Maryland, and the globe, right? So what I want to do is actually also add another layer, the new layer that we've created just now, right? Add it to this, okay, and then reprocess the map. All right, now once it's processed, I publish the new map, and let's look at our map again. And voila, you have Pennsylvania. So I'm going to turn everything off once again and zoom back into the United States, right? And then from here, I'm going to say, hey, Delaware shared something, right? And then Maryland, and then Pennsylvania, right? And then all of a sudden, bam, every other state or random city just jumps in. And that information is, of course, during an emergency, you can expect information from any location. And here's all that content. And you'll notice the performance and speed is just amazing. And this example of the map API can easily be implemented with a lot of other custom mashups that you want to build. So now for my favorite part, which is Google Earth, the 3D version of everything. And I think a lot of people underestimate the power of the Google Earth Enterprise client, specifically because it's such an easy tool, and for emergency response and crisis management, you need tools like this that people are already used to using. Now, what I'll be doing is, this is actually something, this Google Earth client you can download directly from the web. Any user can do it. There's a new feature in there which is called Earth Builder. You add it. If you're logged in, what would happen is that you see a list of all the layers that you have. Now, I've created this one that was done before, and then this is something that I did show you guys earlier. Now, I added both just to show as an example. Now, I'm going to see, you'll notice after you add it, it shows up on the left side. Now, this is the new layers, and this is what I had done earlier. Now, you see Pennsylvania popping up right there. And then Delaware, right? Then for the new layer, I added all of that, as well as Maryland, and then of course the whole globe. Now this is 80,000 plus points that I've randomly generated globally, and it's so quick and easy. You'll see, and seamless, that it takes very little time to load and generate all this information. So that, what I also did here was I integrated other things like live data feeds. So I'm actually currently logged in to one of our client sites, which is the DC government. And what we wanted to show here was how it could integrate with Google Earth Enterprise and local information as well. So after I logged in, of course, I'm already VPN'd in, and now I've actually used another authentication to log in. And all of a sudden, for DC, I see suspicious activities. as well as a bunch of other things like shots fired, like today. And these are, 5-second delay feeds of gunshots fired throughout the district. This is something that we typically show quite often. And it's used widely within the DC government in public safety areas. Then you have the police vehicles, all separated by response status. These are delayed, but the refresh rates are increased as there are larger events that we're monitoring. Then you have suspicious activity reports. That's what I was showing earlier. And you'll notice one different thing. There's a high threat SAR. Now, these high threat SARs are suspicious activities that happen around critical infrastructure, like buildings, or even large events like the NBA, right? So if there's an event happening near the SAR, we notify via email, mobile, and other ways. And you have the 911 calls. This is from the last 60 minutes, and then this is from the last 4 hours. Then a bunch of other stuff that we have static information for. Just to give you an idea, we've already also done, homicide density over time. Now imagine not just the District of Columbia here, but when you're sharing this type of information for response throughout each region and actually still maintaining your existing security infrastructure, you're able to share more seamlessly and assist more people and respond much more quickly. So we've also got things like fire trucks. I think it's important to note that every single fire truck, ambulance, paramedic has Google Earth Enterprise installed in the truck itself. So they are monitoring these events and watching everything happening real time, and they're noticing who else is in the area responding to that same event. They're clicking on buildings to see if there are anything else, any floor plans or any other details about their response that they need to know. So this is all tied in. Then you have external feeds, right? So imagine you have information and multiple agencies are providing content to help you respond to a particular situation. And that happens quite often, right? So you have different agencies monitoring different types of events. So I mean, for an example, I just took in, real-time earthquakes from USGS. There's a live feed of, I kind of turn on everything at once, which is kind of silly, but we can go back to what I was discussing earlier at a later time. So these are earthquakes that are real-time. I mean, that's the most commonly used KML feed out there. One of the ones that I really like is actually sharing of LiDAR content using this solution. And you will notice that information is all generated as you zoom in. So then finally, one of the things I was actually about to go into earlier, which was Africa. So one of our clients is Library of Congress, and one of our projects was to load and generate maps throughout Africa, all the historic maps and plans. So I thought maybe it might be interesting to, during an event, also, be able to look up historic content. And these are scanned images of the Library of Congress that are scanned by the Library of Congress. So I'm just going to go back to Earth Builder. and load everything Library of Congress that I have. Just a couple of these layers. You'll see all the lock maps pop up. One of the things that we're doing with this solution is that this is once again Earth Builder. One of the things that we're doing with this solution is actually doing timelines with scanned maps throughout any.
That just about concludes our presentation. I would like to thank you for participating today, and in conclusion, we'll just add the following. All of you that took the time to join in this event today did so because you take seriously the important responsibilities you have to ensure public safety. You have responsibilities that most people frankly could not fathom. In times of crisis, you must make critical and potentially life-saving decisions. In order to fulfill those awesome responsibilities, you need the best, most accurate, and up-to-date information you can get, and it must be reliable even in catastrophe. We at NAG have the ability to improve your decision-making by significantly increasing the accuracy and reliability of the data you must use to make these potentially life-saving decisions. And if you can save even one person by having access to the abilities that we can provide, isn't it worth a deeper conversation? We look forward to having that discussion with you and further demonstrating how we can make your very difficult jobs a little easier. Once again, Google offers unprecedented scalability, reduced IT and server costs, and the ability to process complex geospatial data quickly and efficiently. Users can access Google's extensive base map, control source data and attribution, and create custom map layers for Google Earth and Maps. Maps generated can be accessed anywhere, anytime, and can be shared across departmental and municipal jurisdictions for a complete, comprehensive geospatial solution to your needs. You can contact us at 1-202-589-8722 or just contact us at our website at naginc.co, naginc.co. We look forward to speaking with you. With that, we conclude today's presentation. Thank you for joining us.